I'm Travis Guzzi. I'm the Mission Engagement Facilitator for the Central Region, the Southeastern District. And I'd like to invite you today to join with me as we go fishing. That was our theme for our SED convention this month in Hickory, North Carolina, as President Denninger shared with us about how Jesus invites us to go fishing, how he invited his first disciples to follow him and he'd make them fishers of men, that's Jesus' call to us today, that he invites us to follow him, to love and serve our neighbors, to connect them to Jesus, his promises and love, that we too become fishers of men. You know, there's a lot that we can learn from fishing that applies to fishing for men. The first thing is we got to learn to be quiet. You know, if you make too much noise when you go fishing, you might scare the fish away. Well, maybe we don't do that actually with people, but we got to learn to be quiet with them so that we can truly hear what's going on inside of their lives. You know, many times we are tempted to think that we have to get the gospel in as quick as we can. But actually, we may be more effective if we would just listen to them, to their hurts and pains, as well as their hopes and dreams, that we'll know what that craving is inside of their souls so that we can share the gospel. The second thing, and related to that, is when you go fishing, you gotta know the fish so that you know what bait to use. Whether it's a worm or eggs, or perhaps it's flies or a lure. Well, with people, we also got to get to know them as well so that we understand that hunger that's inside of them, that craving within their soul, so that we know how to communicate the gospel to them, not in a general way, Jesus loves you, he died for you. Yes, that's true. But what does good news sound to them? The only way you do that is getting to know them. The third thing that's important as you go fishing is you got to make time to go fishing. You know, there's a reason we call it fishing and not shopping for fish, is that you have to spend time because fish don't always bite right away. That we have to make the time to invest in it and enjoy the day so that whenever those fish do bite, that we're ready to reel them in. Well, it's the same with people. We have to make time for people. This isn't something you just schedule or a little bit here and a little bit there, but we got to make room in our schedule to be with people so that when their hunger for the gospel comes forth and God reveals that you'll be there in their life and you've built that trust. The last thing that you can learn from fishing is that fishing is not a solo act, but actually fishing is always better with a friend. You know, when Jesus went out fishing, he didn't send his disciples one by one, but he sent them two by two. Or we think of Barnabas and Paul and John Mark, or Paul and Timothy and Silas. They went fishing as a community. That actually, when you think about Jesus' followers, those fishermen, they fish not as a solo act, but around nets. Well, whenever we go fishing, we don't have to go alone, but we can go with a friend. That we can do that in community with Jesus and with each other, that there we have encouragement and support and inviting others into community, that they come to know this God of love and community the way that we have. I want to thank you for joining me for this May edition of the Jesus Central vlog. And if you have any questions about how you can be more effective in being fishers for men, joining Jesus on that mission that he calls us to, I invite you to reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to you about how we can provide training for you and or your congregation, or perhaps some coaching to understand where God has called you to, your fishing hole, wherever you live, work, and play, so that you can be more effective for the kingdom. So please reach out to me at tguzzi@se.lcms.org. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. With that, I want to wish you God's blessing wherever God calls you and whatever fish he puts in your way. And as always, remember to keep Jesus central.